Well, good morning everyone. I'm out doing a little project that I've been working on for a few days now, on and off. I've been trying to re-establish some open areas behind me here. You can see off to the distance the area is largely filled in with trees and shrubs. When we first moved here 20 years ago, this was all open and you could see out to our horse field from the house. But now you can't see the field at all from the house, so I'm just trying to open up this area again. Right behind me, where it looks like grass now, up until a week or so ago, this was very tall goldenrod and raspberry canes with occasional prickly ash mixed in. So I've cleared that out, and then the next step is to clear out the remaining area back to the fence so we can see through here again. And that's going to mainly involve taking out some small shrubs, also some more goldenrod and raspberry canes, and then possibly some small trees, which I never like to do, but these are still fairly small trees, and I just want to re-establish a narrow width of view out to the field again. I'm not talking about removing this whole area like it once was open, just a small window basically so we can see the horses when they're out in the field. There is a larger black locust here which I didn't plant, but it's seeded in from other trees that I did plant, and that was just a mistake on my behalf. I didn't realize how aggressive black locust are at spreading around. So here's the fairly large black locust that has been growing here, and you can see I've cut off quite a few of its lower branches just to increase the view through the bottom area because it was hanging down over a lot of the lower ground vegetation as well. For example, here's a little chestnut tree that I planted quite a few years ago. Now it's very slow growing, but it's become even more slow growing because this big locust was hanging its shade right over it for a few years. Now I've opened it up a fair amount and it's getting a fair amount of sun. There's a branch right over it that I want to still get out of there, but if I cut it now it's going to fall right on the chestnut and break it, so I've got to get somebody to help me with that one. So this is one of the commercially available honey locust known as sunburst locust. This is one of the trees I put here a number of years ago, probably over 12 or so years ago, and it's gotten to be a fair size. It actually produces a fairly light shade, which I like, so a fair amount of light does get down through it, the top crown, because it has very fine leaves. But I have cut off some of the lower branches because they had already died due to shading, and also because they were just getting very close to the ground, hanging down and getting in your way. You couldn't walk through here easy. This is one of the other trees I planted. This is a blue spruce, and I got it very cheap many years ago, probably 15 years ago or so. And it was only a tiny little thing in the nursery and they were almost giving it away, so I brought it here. It looked like it was going to die. I didn't really think it would even live. But it actually did fairly well. It's growing quite well. So a couple weeks ago, one of the things I did with this tree is take off all its lower branches, most of which had already died again because of heavy shading, and they were hanging right to the ground so you couldn't walk through here. And this is much nicer now. It's very open. The ground is covered in needles, so there's not much growth here. As you can see on the side here, I've got quite a little collection of prickly ash. This is a mound here full of it, and now the problem with them is they keep spreading outward all the time. So I may eventually start cutting them back just to reduce the size of this patch. I don't want to get rid of it altogether because a lot of shrub nesting birds do like to nest in here in the spring and summer. Also, you have the eastern giant swallowtail butterfly, which feeds on this as the larval stage, so it's nice to have those around as well. So I don't want to take out all the prickly ash and remove all the food source. So the area behind me is the area that I have to do some work in to remove some shrubs, some raspberry canes, and maybe a few small trees. So this is a nice little bur oak that I'd like to keep here. It's a little bit off to the side, so I think it'll be okay even as it gets larger, that I can still see through this other path over here that I clear out. It's always nice to maintain diversity wherever you can, so seeing as we have very few of these right on the property per se, it's nice to keep them if we can. And this just shows the sunburst locust I was talking about earlier, along with that blue spruce. And then I've got another planted locust off to the side. That's called a shade master locust. Both of those locusts are commercially available locusts, and they don't have any thorns on them compared to the black locust, which does have thorns. And these also don't seed here. They don't seem to. Anyhow, this is one of the little projects I've been working on. I'm also doing some tree thinning and branch removal up alongside the driveway, which I'll also show perhaps in another video.